First up this morning, the official Visit Milwaukee Visitor's Guide has a list of top 10 attractions in Milwaukee, and one of them is a place you've maybe never visited. It's the North Point Lighthouse. It's located within Milwaukee's Lake Park, and it is open to the public.
This is on my to-do list. Mark Kuehn is the curator of the North Point Lighthouse and the museum there, and he's here today with a peek inside and details on how you can visit one of the oldest structures ever built in Milwaukee. True story, huh, Mark?
That's
welcome to the Morning
pretty true.
Line.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me.
It's so nice to have you here. I bet you by chance one weekend
at
and you said
sale.
At a rummage sale because I'm not
at your house?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
What'd you buy?
Did you buy anything?
I don't know if I bought anything or not.
But
I got some good tips from you, though.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot
of
of good stuff there. But one of the best things, honestly, was some of the people that I met, including you. And you said, hey, you have to visit the lighthouse, which I intend to do before summer's end. It's open to the public, and I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, it's open year-round. We're open on Saturdays and Sundays from 1 till 4. And this summer we're open on Thursdays from 10 till 2. So it's a great opportunity for, if you haven't been there, please stop down and visit.
Yeah.
I heard this great idea, which we shared on the show a while ago, to make a book of things that you want to do. It's just like a scrapbook, and then you fill it in with pictures when you do it. And one of those things, when I looked up the top things to do in Milwaukee, was to visit the North Point Lighthouse. So when was it built, and why do you think that people should visit it if they've never been there?
Well, it was built, the original lighthouse, the first lighthouse in Milwaukee was built in 1838 and was at the end of Wisconsin Avenue where the orange sculpture is today.
Yeah.
But it was only about 30 feet tall. It wasn't very well put for ships, so they moved it to North Point, where the location is today. The first lighthouse was that one right there. It was built in 1854, right along on the bluff. But around 1888, you'll notice the bluff started to erode, so they were worried that it was going to fall into the lake, so they moved it to its present location in 1888. So that house has been, the house that's there today was built in 1888. It's made out of 3 lighthouses. The original lighthouse was built in 1888. After it became a park in 1893, they planted a lot of trees. Well, 1912 comes along, you can't see the lighthouse anymore. So they dismantled the lighthouse, added another section at the bottom in 1912, and put the original back on top. So the top of the lighthouse is from the original 1854 house, the lantern room, the black part. The middle part is 1888 and the bottom part is 1912. So basically when you walk to the top of the tower, you go back in time. You start in 1912 and you end up in 1854.
So you can go all the way up to the top.
All 84 stairs, and then there's a ladder at the top. It takes you up into the lantern room. And it's a great view of Milwaukee.
And kids can do that too. I think they have to be like 38 inches tall or something, right?
We have a model of the lighthouse, a small model, and you have to be a certain height to climb it. But mostly everybody that comes in can climb the tower.
Well, and in the visitor's guide, the official visitor's guide that we were talking about that includes a map, it lists the North Point Lighthouse, and it says it's a beautifully restored landmark, museum, and event destination. And the fact that it's a museum for people who like historical places to visit, I mean, museum has so many different artifacts and things that people can see that really kind of bring them back to that day and also help people understand the purpose, the intended purpose of lighthouses.
Right. I mean, it's a museum, but it's what it served. The purpose was to navigate, to get ships to come into Milwaukee safely, and it had played a very important part in the maritime history of Milwaukee. And have a keeper there. For over 125 years, there was someone there.
Georgia, right?
Georgia Stebbins was the first keeper in the house from 1888 until 1907. She was our longest-serving keeper. She would have to climb those tower every 3 hours, starting at dusk.
Is she still there?
No, she's not there. I wish she was. No, we have a lot of people asking if it's haunted. No, it's not. It's a wonderful.
So you say.
So I've been there. I've been there a lot. I've been there a lot of times at night by myself, and I haven't heard. I'd love if there was a ghost there. I'd love it to be Georgia Stebbins. I'd love to sit and talk with her. You know.
All right, Georgia, come visit.
It was the interesting fact we have on when we give our tour is having her climb those stairs every 3 hours, starting at dusk till dawn. We figure the time she lived there, she climbed those stairs 63,800 times.
Wow.
She had to be super fit. I mean, climbing stairs is...
And she was diagnosed with tuberculosis in 1873. That's what got her to Milwaukee. Her father was the keeper before that, and she lived in New York City. And she came down with tuberculosis, or they called it the consumption in those days. So her doctor sent her to Milwaukee to recuperate with her parents. Well, her father's health was failing, so she took over for him at the original house, 1854 house. But so she was quite a trooper. She
She was tough.
She raised the son while she was there, and her husband was a watchmaker, and he had a jewelry store on Mason Street, so he spent most of his time downtown, so she spent a lot of time out there by herself.
One thing I want to make sure I mention about this incredible attraction in Milwaukee, like I said, that a lot of people maybe have never visited, is that you also do events there. You can have a wedding reception there. You can do something with co-workers. It's an incredible place that's very unusual.
We were having a lot of weddings lately. I think our September is booked already, and it's just a wonderful place for weddings. It's not very, I mean, you can hold up to about 100 people within the confines of the lighthouse and outside. We have school groups. We have an education committee that goes to schools and talks about the lighthouse. Corporate
we have some
events.
Pictures of events
Corporate
too.
events.
There we go. Okay.
No, that's when they were restoring the lighthouse. That was the construction when they in 2005, 2006 they were restoring it. That's
Look at
what
how
it looks like
beautiful
today.
it is.
We have a boardroom upstairs for if you want to have a corporate board meeting. We had a group of people from Northwestern Mutual here last week that had a kind of a think tank session going on.
Okay,
So
what a place to think.
yeah, it's great. It's very soothing. It's just you just get a nice feeling. Now, that's the original or the last lens that was in the house called the Fresnel lens, and that had a distance of 21 miles out to sea. You could see the light.
Wow.
And it was lit with a small kerosene light. Originally, the house was lit with mineral oil, and then converted to coal gas in 1912 and electrified in 1929. The first house in Milwaukee was originally lit with whale oil. There were some pictures of some events that we have, how we can set up for an event.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Well, people can come out on the weekends. Saturdays and Sundays, you're open from 1 until 4.
Right, and it's
And Thursdays
and
now.
Thursdays in the summertime, and it's $5 admission for adults and $3 for children under 12, and children under 5 are free.
That's great. You can book a tour by calling the number on your screen. It's 414-332-6754, or visit northpointlighthouse.org. It's on my list. Put it on your list. I think we should go together,
please
Molly.
stop by. Especially on Sunday, we have a wonderful docent that gives a great tour. So stop on
Sundays.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right.
I love your tie.
Thank
I
you.
noticed it, by the way. It's got the maritime theme going on,
Thank
which
you
is
very much.
fantastic. Great to have you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.